common mixing mistakes that apparently almost everybody makes.
Common mixing mistakes from a veteran studio engineer and music producer.
They listen too loud. So if you listen way too loud, you'll get ear fatigue, and then your ears start to compress, and you will make a very bright mix because your ears will start to fade off on the top end after a while, and you'll start adding more as time goes on.
What's good, and welcome to Indie Leverage. Up next, I pulled a short little clip from an episode of our show, Let's Talk About It, where we look for some of the best advice for music artists like us who are trying to make a career, trying to make a living off of the thing that we love to do. You can find the full episode on our channel. You know, we got new episodes that drop every Friday, but for now, let's talk about it. I'm gonna bring up this next video from Metalworks Institute where they got a vet in the game breaking down some common mixing mistakes that apparently almost everybody makes.
Common mixing mistakes from a veteran studio engineer and music producer.
They listen too loud. So if you listen way too loud, you'll get ear fatigue, and then your ears start to compress, and you will make a very bright mix because your ears will start to fade off on the top end after a while, and you'll start adding more as time goes on. So what happens is you end up with these very unbalanced bright mixes because it's too loud, where you should listen at a regular volume. Regular volume meaning about 85 dB. Not too low, but not too loud. Another one, if you're mixing pop, make sure the vocal's loud enough. It's all about the melody. The beat and the vocal. So the vocal's the melody and the beat's the beat. So those two things have to be heard. Everything else, good luck. Not using distortion properly. Like, in other words, sometimes people distort the wrong things just because they think it's cool. You know, they have this distorted sound that they think, oh, it's cool, but it's just a cheap trick sometimes. Or it's not necessary. And it clutters up stuff. So you have to be careful how you use it. Some things are genre related. You know, bass, for instance, in hip-hop, and your bottom end is extremely important. Or in rock, your mid and top is extremely important too. Like, very important.
Yeah, man, I'm not gonna lie. I'm definitely guilty of that first mistake, especially when I first started out, when I wasn't even really aware of it. I would just keep mixing and recording music until my ears were like completely fatigued, and I didn't even really give them any type of break throughout the day, And even after I found out what it was, to be real, I still find myself to this day trying to buck on calling it quits. And in my head, I'd be like, come on, bro, you can at least finish this mix real quick. You're gonna be all right. So I'm also talking to myself when I say that it's definitely important to listen to your body, because, you ain't supposed to do that, man. Like, especially if you're thinking long term. And if anything, look at it as a way to save your time, because more than likely you'll just end up tweaking it more the next day, right? But I know that I've made each of these mistakes myself. So over time, learning how to properly mix my vocals with the beat where it sits, right there in the pocket. A little trick, if you do lease beats online, a lot of times producers are sending you a fully mixed beat, right? Like where it's an MP3 or wave, whatever you get. And they usually have it where it's hitting as loud as it can without bleeding over. They're giving you the fully mixed beat. So I like to use something like the Trim plugin where I could bring it down to about -6 dB. But I actually like to look for new mistakes that I'm making. I feel like that's just a part of the process where you got to constantly try and improve and grow, you feel me? But that takes dedication, and you got to be willing to always be a student of the game, especially the further that you go and the more things that you learn, because when you first start off, you basically have to learn everything, right? So, of course, you're like a sponge. You're just soaking in as much as you can. But as time goes by and you start feeling like you're starting to hear the same advice, or you might feel like you already have a good understanding of, what you think you need to know. For one, you don't know what you don't know. But for two, that's kind of how the game works. You might sit through like 1 hour of a podcast episode and they're going over some things that you're already familiar with, right? But it's always good to have a refresher. But 9 times out of 10, you'll leave with at least 1 or 2 little gems. It might be a new piece of information or a new way to look at something, or like a tool or something like that. It might be something that was said that even struck an idea or a thought into your head. So mistakes are gonna keep happening. You know, there's no way around it. You know, that's just gonna be a part of the journey. But the more mistakes that you make, the more lessons that you're gonna learn. And that sounds kind of cheesy and cliche, but you got to be as in love with the process as you are with the idea of you reaching the finish line. And I mean, I guess you don't have to, but I probably would have been burnt out if that wasn't the case for me. You know, this requires too much hard work for you not to love it and for you not to be addicted to it. And I feel like that's why a lot of people fall off over time, because they're in it for the wrong reasons. All right, so that's going to be it for the clip that we got from one of our episodes of Let's Talk About It. I hope you got some value out of this. And remember, we got full episodes on our channel, new episodes that come out every Friday. So if you're not already, go ahead and subscribe and get notified for more videos like these. But I ain't going to hold y'all, man. Y'all keep it pushing, because we starting to gain some leverage.
Really put myself on. I can't settle for average. I made it a habit of doing what they couldn't get done.
Wait, you still here? You must not know a video to watch next or something, huh? Alright, man. I got you, bro, but you gonna have to get up out of my studio, cause yes, what the
got me showing up. You can keep your keeper behind the gate if they won't let me in. Yeah. We balancing the scales now, and we got them scared, yeah.